NFL executives are predicting Jalen Hurts will receive a 10-year mega contract extension, the likes of one Patrick Mahomes. Does that make sense for Philadelphia? Jalen Carter has completely stopped meeting with teams outside of the top 10. That's good news for the Eagles. And there's also a scenario where Howie Roseman could make a ton of trades. We'll show you a wild mock draft. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome to the Thomas Mott Show on a Tuesday. This is a fascinating show, especially starting with the Jalen Hurts contract situation and the prediction of a mega 10-year deal. Does it make sense for the Eagles? We'll start there in 1 second. First, just a little side note, it's my birthday week, and your gift to me could be a thumbs up and a subscription. I would greatly appreciate that. On the road to 11K subs. Fun little way to go ahead and help us get there as soon as possible. Let's start with the Jalen Hurts stuff and move over to the draft. There's a really interesting article released by Scott Pollock of BleacherReport.com talking about multiple NFL execs predicting Jalen Hurts will receive a Patrick Mahomes type contract in order to help Philadelphia save some money and to extend his earnings well into, I guess, 2030? Here's the whole breakdown. Quote, Jalen Hurts is entering the final year of his contract and could be primed to land a massive deal after leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl this past season. One NFL exec believes he will keep the team in mind when negotiating. Good news so far. I think Hurts will do a Mahomes-type deal with good structure for the team, the executive said, per Mike Sanford of The Athletic. He seems to get it. The Kansas City Chiefs gave Mahomes a 10-year contract worth approximately $500 million ahead of the 2022 season, but the structure of it with rolling guarantees gives the team more flexibility on the year-to-year basis. Pro Football Focus's Brad Spielberger ranked it as the sixth best contract in the league from a team's perspective ahead of the 2022 season, noting Mahomes will earn roughly $63 million over 3 seasons from 2020 to 2022. By comparison, Aaron Rodgers is set to earn $101.5 million over the next 2 seasons alone. As for Hurts, he erased any doubts that he is the Eagles franchise quarterback of the present and future when he led the team to the Super Bowl as an MVP candidate in 2022, end quote. And so you read this and you go, okay, wait a second. It sounds good because it sounds like it's team-friendly, but it sounds very, very long. Remember, Patrick Mahomes is a 10-year contract. He'll be a Chief for the rest of his life and maybe a Chief even after he retires in terms of getting money from them. My takeaway from this is good. This is the type of quarterback contract you want for someone you believe will be the face of your franchise for the rest of his career. If you didn't believe in Jalen Hurts, you'd give him a 4-year deal that's a little bit back heavy. That way you're protected to make moves now, but you're not totally screwed 3 years from now. Whereas this would say, listen, we believe you are the quarterback of the NFC, the quarterback of the future, and the quarterback for many Super Bowl runs going into the next 10 years. But we want to make sure that we not only appease you, it's a 10-year contract, guarantees he gets paid for the next 10 years, but also helps out the football team, and that seems to be the core point here. I think this is good. Now, is it 10-year? Is it 8-year? Is it 7-year? Don't get caught up in the years. I'm going to see comments saying, no way. Why would I give somebody a 10-year contract? Don't get caught up in that. Get caught up in the fact that he believes, and other NFL execs have believed as well, that Hurts will take a sort of team-friendly-ish deal. That way they can continue to win a lot of football games and not just be a quarterback-heavy with no real talent around him sort of franchise. Now, one thing that is for darn sure, whether you think this is a good idea or not, I want your thoughts down below in the comment section. I think it's a good idea. Philly has their core, at least offensively, locked up for the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, A.J. Brown signed a massive extension this past season. Devontae Smith is still on a rookie deal. He has a 5th-year option, obviously only 2 years into the league. Dallas Goedert just got a brand new contract. They're going to probably draft or at least have a very cheap running back in the next couple of years. Bijan, Kenneth Gainwell, who knows? The core of the offense is going to be fine. The money spent, though, would come defensively, and I guess the thought process there is if they don't have a ton of money, you draft well early, like number 10 overall, as we'll talk about, get good defensive players, let them play out their entire 5-year contract, and then they walk to go get some more greener pasture. So this is interesting. Will this happen pre-draft? That's my big question mark. Are we going to see this April 15th? Are we going to see it on my birthday, April 6th? Are we going to see it after the draft on June 29th? I don't know, but this is a very, very good indicator that people out there are thinking Hurts is going to take a longer team-friendly deal that still makes him a ton of money, doesn't ruin his pocketbook, but also helps the Eagles out as well. Thumbs up for that, and let me read your comments down below. Okay, a very interesting tweet here from ESPN's Adam Schefter regarding Jalen Carter. Been monitoring this for the better part of 2 weeks. Jalen Carter's fall out of the top 10. Well, at least his agent thinks he's not going to fall out of the top 10. Is it good or bad news for Philadelphia? Let's see. Schefter says this, quote, Georgia defensive tackle Jalen Carter is visiting the Bears today. It is his second visit, with him having already visited the Eagles. Carter's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said he is declining visit requests for any team drafting outside of the top 10 picks. I'm confident Jalen will go in the top 10, Rosenhaus said. He's a good person, a family man, loves football, and is a generational talent. Carter was invited and plans to attend the NFL draft later this month, in Kansas City. Now, this can be a PR move. I mean, this could easily be his agent trying to stir up the idea that if you want Jalen Carter, trade up in the top 10. He's not going to fall out of there. We're not going to talk to you. However, I think this truly is Rosenhaus and Carter understanding the market for Jalen Carter. And even though he has off-the-field issues, and there are some serious concerns there, and Josh Davis of the Philly Special Show, who we're going to be linking with tomorrow on the Wednesday Link Live, has a really good show. You should check it out from yesterday, breaking down the whole arrest incident and all the, the racing situation that resulted in a fatality. Check out his channel for details on that. But I think that Carter understands how good he is, and I think he understands that the NFL is a talent-driven league. And most of the time, if you're good enough, a lot of people, and whether this is right or wrong, don't care what you did off the football field. They care what you do on the football field. And if Carter can convince people that was a one-off situation, he's grown and learned from it, and it will not happen again, there are teams in the top 10 that would love to have him, including Philadelphia. And I don't know if that's the right move. I'm very much on the fence with Carter. To me, Carter and Bijan Robinson are the two absolute, I don't know. I mean, black sheep of this NFL draft, the ugly duckling. I mean, they're the odd man out. I don't know what to do with them. Are they the perfect fit for Philadelphia or a nightmare? Both of them are very, very iffy. I'm leaning towards both of them being good choices for Philadelphia, but we're going to have to go ahead and wait and see. But this tells me here, Carter thinks he's going in the top 10, and I think he's good enough to overcome the off-the-field issues, whether you believe that's right or wrong, in order to go inside the top 10, most likely to Chicago, possibly to Philadelphia, or Detroit, maybe, depending what the Lions want to do on the defensive front. So let me know what your thoughts are on Jalen Carter. Are you fully in, fully out, or are you like me, unsure of what to do with the ugly duckling of the group, who might actually be the best duck of the entire pond? Who knows on this one? Very curious where you guys are at on that one. Okay, I want to finish with what I think is the most bizarre mock draft I've seen, but also the most realistic, can I say that word, mock draft? Reuben Frank, Eagles Insider, NBCSports.com, legendary Eagle guy, he did a mock draft, and he did a mock draft with trades for the Eagles, and he gives you a 7-round mock draft with trades, and I started looking through this, and he gets into this whole idea that Howie Roseman has made 46 trades, either during the draft or in the few days leading up since 2015. That's nearly 4 trades per year, and with that in mind, he has 4 trades here, and the draft picks that ensue from them, and I think they make a ton of sense for Philadelphia. At least the trades. The players we'll talk about, but the trades are very, very realistic for the Eagles. So let's go ahead and set the stage here. He says this: the Eagles go in with number 10, 30, 62, 94, 219, and 248. However, after a series of trades, I have them picking 12, 53, 61, 65, 67, 73, 151, 198, and 219. That is a massive, massive jump. 6 picks turn into 9, plus a second and a 4th round picks next year, and more importantly, 4 picks in the first 6 rounds turns into 8. This would be good news for Philadelphia and how we can wheel and deal, because people want to move up to get their guys. The Eagles say, come on up, just give us your 2nd round draft pick, we'll move back. Will these all happen? I don't know, but it's very interesting to see Reuben Frank's thoughts on this. So what he does for the first round at number 10, he moves back with the Patriots, gets number 62 overall, and then, of course, number 12 and number 73, and then spends number 12 on cornerback Devin Witherspoon. Now, Witherspoon, to me, doesn't make a ton of sense anymore for Philadelphia because you have Slay locked up for at least the next 2 years, but if you feel like you want to go ahead and build the heir apparent to Slay and then have Bradbury and Witherspoon together, that's fine. Witherspoon's great. There's nothing against Devin Witherspoon. It's more of a need selection here, but he goes defensive corner situation, which I would think you go defensive lineman. Either way, that's your first overall draft pick. Now, at 30, they trade back with the Bears. They get 53 in the 2nd round, 61 in the 2nd round, and a 2nd round pick in 2024. 3 2nd round draft picks. Very reasonable in terms of it's a 1st round draft pick, and it makes a ton of sense. He has them taking a linebacker at 53, Jack Campbell, the linebacker out of Iowa, who I think makes a lot of sense, although I think Nicholas Morrow is going to be the starter alongside Dean. And I know there are a lot of people complaining that the Eagles have not drafted a 1st round linebacker or a linebacker in the first 2 rounds since Michael Kendricks in 2022, but this is interesting. Campbell's good, but I think there are other areas of need. But again, we're looking at the trades here, not necessarily the players that are selected. Okay, another 2nd round draft pick, 61 overall, Derek Hall, the edge rusher out of Auburn. There's your defensive line player selected. I think he's really good, and a 2nd round pass rusher at 6'3", 255, who's very explosive, makes a lot of sense for Philadelphia. We don't hate that one. Okay, 62, they trade to the Patriots. 65, they get back from the Patriots, and they take Tyler Scott, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati. This, to me, could be a very real possibility with all of these trades. If the Eagles add additional second and third round draft picks, then they will address the number 3 wide receiver spot. People have commented, oh, it's not that important. You don't really need to address it. No, but if you have the option, how about a guy with 4.4 speed at the combine, 54 catches and 899 yards last year and 9 touchdowns. He makes a lot of sense overall for Philadelphia. And the Eagles like Cincinnati players. Look at Trent Cole, Brent Selleck, and Jason Kelsey. It's not a bad track record. So I like this one, and it's a good indication of what happens whenever you make some additional trades. Okay, number 73, via the Patriots. How about Antonio Johnson, the safety out of Texas A&M? This, to me, is the most unlikely pick because it's in the 3rd round. Antonio Johnson, the safety, could make a lot of sense for Philadelphia. I've seen him as a late first, middle of the 2nd round sort of player. Now, if he falls, Philadelphia jumps all over it, that's fine. But another way to kind of fill a hole that you wouldn't necessarily have a chance to fill with only 5 draft picks versus Frank's projected 9 here in this year's NFL draft. Number 94, they trade with the Giants along with 248 to go ahead and move back to 128 in the 4th round. And then they trade to the Seahawks for 151 overall and went at 98 overall. And so he's getting rid of his 4th and getting some additional later round guys. 151, Jarrett Patterson, the guard out of Notre Dame. Good guard depth here. No real comment on that one. You have the idea that you want to make sure the trenches are filled, and you have an offensive line coach who can make anybody a superstar. 198, he takes Deuce Vaughn, the running back out of K-State. That would be a great pick for Philadelphia. Vaughn's a little bit smaller, more in the Gainwell. He's 5'5", 180, but he is electric. 18 touchdowns last year. He's a very interesting 6th or 7th round draft pick, and I don't hate it here for those of you that don't get Bijan Robinson and are upset. 7th round, they go ahead and take a defensive tackle and Nesta Jade Silvera out of Arizona State. They're going to get a D tackle in this draft at some point, and here's in the 7th round. And then, of course, number 248, they traded to the Giants to go ahead and round out this draft. Now, don't focus in on players. Focus in on trades here. This is an example of how Howie Roseman can go from 5, 6 draft picks in a year to 7, 8, 9, plus 2 additional next year. I think Reuben Frank did a really good job studying this. They're very likely. They're very fair and even trades, and I'm curious your thoughts on if this is something Howie Roseman could really jump into and do. All right, plenty more stuff happening the next couple of days and weeks. Working on some hat stuff. Hopefully, we're going to have that for you maybe later on this week with the announcement, and then, of course, have the actual hat shipping in a couple of weeks. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. At our Wednesday Link Live, myself, Josh Davis, obviously with the 1st round draft pick jersey giveaway. We're getting more people to go ahead and sign up for that Wednesday night, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Be sure to show up to that. Don't be late. It's always a bunch of fun. We answer questions for like 2 hours. It's a really good time. I'm Thomas Mott here on a very fun Tuesday. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.